What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the City Life Project YouTube channel for yet another picks, predictions, breakdown, and preview video here covering UFC Fight Night Cannonier versus Rodrigues later today. We will be covering that event live. We will be hosting a fight companion. I will get the stream up in a little bit. And right after this stream, right after this preview show, we will be covering WoW 16 out of Spain, basically just until UFC starts. That starts in about 20-30 minutes. We'll just jump over to that right after this predictions video. I'll add timestamps at the end of this stream as well. But let's get right into it. First fight. Oh, I should probably grab my notes. First fight on the card here, Avila against Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Now, I just want to quickly note that this card, I mean, my goodness, look at all the withdrawals. Absolutely insane. But anyways, back. So there's been a lot of shuffling in regards to the order. But let's get to the first fight on this card here, and honestly, I'm fine with this one being the first one. Avila, 9-3 as a pro. She is 3-2 in her last 5 fights. She's 36 years of age, going up against Jacqueline Cavalcanti, who's a little bit taller than her. There's a little bit of reach advantage. And she's 8-1 as a pro, 5-0 in her last 5 fights, and minus 700. The Nightmare is the big favorite. 3 KO, TKO, 0 submissions, 5 decisions. Really good striker. Actually, fun fighter to watch. Pretty good takedown defense, good boxing, 3-0 in the UFC, 1-0 in LFA, and 0-1 in PFL. Good win, or good streak upon losing in the PFL. Went to UAE Warriors, went to LFA where she became the champion, and then right into the UFC where she's fought some decent opponents. Like, I picked against her in the Nunes fight. I picked against her in the Nora fight. I'm not picking against her here against Avila, the aging Avila, who has 4 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 3 decisions. She's 3-2 in the UFC, 1-1 in Invicta. Last fought Miesha Tate in 2023, loss. For them beat Stoliarenko in 2021. I mean, yeah, just she's got a wrestling background, but doesn't really, I don't know, hasn't really used it. I mean, even in the Miesha Tate fight was like throwing punches, historically doesn't spam takedowns. So yeah, I'm going with the favorite here. She can defend takedowns if there's any. She's good at getting back up to her feet and scrambling. She's taller, lankier, and she's the way better boxer. Short notice matchmaking in the UFC has been pretty good this year. What's up, K1? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, next fight we got Valter Walker against Dontel Mays. Now, this one's interesting. For those who are really into their Tapology picks, those who are betting, I really don't care. This is just a fun show to do with you guys prior to UFC, which I will take your comments here in a little bit if you guys do get them in. But Dontel Mays, I feel like whenever I pick against him, he wins. Whenever I pick him, he loses. He's like one of those guys in the UFC heavyweight who would be good on the regional scene, but is just, he's getting wins because the UFC heavyweight division is not great. His cardio is actually not that bad for a heavyweight. 33 years of age, lost to Shamil Gaziev, beat Kyle Machado, right? Kyle Machado no longer in the UFC anymore, probably going back to BFL, or maybe even LFA, but lost to Rodrigo Nascimento, who's okay. Beat Andre Arlovsky, cracked him there. Lost to Sakai. I guess Sakai's okay. Couldn't beat Phil DeFree, though. Valter Walker on the regional scene was actually pretty damn good. He tore up, was it MMA series? And he's only 27 years of age, by the way. 6 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 4 decisions. Yeah, MMA series where he went 6-0. He was the champion there as well. Debuted in the UFC and looked horrible against Lucas Bresky, who's not that great either. Neither of them were super dominant, but Bresky just I did not think that he was going to beat him. Bounce back, look good against Junior Tafa. His jiu-jitsu, his grappling's really good, and his power was good in MMA series. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But his striking is not on the same level as Dontel Mays, who's the better boxer. Dontel Mays is I just can't get over his profile picture. I don't even want to call him well-rounded. He's more of a striker. He has some takedown defense. We've seen him actually wrestle at times. If I'm not mistaken, he's part of John Jones' camp as well. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the betting odds should be closer, or Dontel Mays honestly should be the favorite in this one. So like as an underdog, anyways, as we come full circle, what's up MJ World? As we come full circle, as an underdog, Dontel Mays, honestly, good pick if you can keep this on the feet. I think he'll outbox Walker, but I think Walker will probably get this done on the ground. If it goes to decision, he'll have more control time and just ground and pound, maybe some clinch control time as well, or maybe he even will get the submission on Dontel Mays. But anyways, going with Walker on this one again. Not the most confident pick, and if I was betting on this card, which I don't even think I got any bets in yet, maybe I'll throw a few in before UFC. Dontel Mays as an underdog is not the worst. It's good to see you, man. Good to see you. How have you been? How have you been? All right, Vince Morales against Elijah Smith. Honestly, sick fucking fight. I'm a big fan of Vince Morales. He fought some legit guys in his first UFC run. Was cut, went on the regional scene, tore it up, and actually had some really good fights on the regional scene as well. And he's a pretty well-rounded, crafty vet at 34 years of age, kind of going for it now. Whereas Elijah Smith, new on the scene, he's the son of, what's his name again? Oh, what's his dad's name again? I forget. But anyways, he was a two-time tough competitor. Here, let me just look it up quickly. I should have wrote that in my notes. But his dad was on the John Jones Chael Sonnen season and the Gilbert Smith, that is right. John Jones did him dirty, if you guys don't remember, on his first run on the Ultimate Fighter, pairing him up against, or matching him up against that super tall dude. Didn't work out. But it was cool to see Gilbert Smith with his son in the post-fight interview on Dana White's Contender Series. I'm good, MJ, by the way. I'm good, man. He had a really good fight on Dana White Contender Series, by the way. There was like a few picks and predictions from other MMA YouTubers and those who like cover the sport who said that, like, his last performance wasn't an exciting fight, and I totally disagree. That was against Aaron Tao. That one was awesome. That was the one where he like dominated in the first 2 rounds in the boxing, and then, you know, started to slow down there at the end, and Tao was starting to come back and arguably won the 3rd round. I have to go back to confirm that. But anyways, that was one of the most exciting fights on Dana White Contender Series that like went the distance. So I really like the performance of Elijah Smith. He's 7-1 as a pro. He's the slight favorite coming into this. 22 years of age, training out of Colorado too. 5-0 in his last 5, like I said. 4 KOT gears, 1 submission, 2 decisions. 1-0 in Contender Series, 4-1 on Fury, and he actually won a regional title against Robert Trujillo, who's, again, Robert Trujillo hasn't really done anything recently, but like on the come up, he was one of those guys who everyone was keeping their eyes on as well. Fought a 1-2 guy after that, whatever, but then beat an 8-1 guy, then Aaron Tao, tough son of a bitch, on Dana White's Contender Series. His only loss was when he took a big step up in competition against Reyes Cortez in Fury, where he lost in the 3rd round there. Vince Morales, 16-8 as a pro. Pretty well-rounded fighter. Trains out of Syndicate. 7 KOT gives, 5 submissions, 4 decisions. 3-6 in the UFC, 2-0 in Bellator, 1-0 in Ryzen, and 0-1 on Contender Series back in 2018. And his first fight back in the UFC is against Taylor Lapilu. But I mean, he's a veteran coming back, so I wasn't like upset with that matchup. And he didn't look that bad in that fight. Like, Lapilu clearly won the fight, but it was like, okay, like you're at this level. Won the UFL title, beating 11-3 Hunter Azur. Before then, had a really good fight against Luis Guerrero, Tough Enough, who I believe Luis Guerrero was a title contender in Luke's as well. Had a really good fight against Yuki Motoya, who Motoya will be fighting for the Ryzen title. Bounced back against a really good prospect after this loss, and actually was able to keep this fight on the feet. Motoya, more of a grappler, who's well-rounded, but more of a grappler, and outboxed the shit out of Motoya. Upon being cut from the UFC as well, which, again, losing to Jonathan Martinez and Miles Johns, no shame in that. You know, didn't beat the best competition, but got right back on the saddle, went on a 5-fight win streak, and won a title on the regional scene. So I like Vince Morales as the underdog. I do. Now, the first 2 rounds of Elijah Smith could just be an onslaught, right? It really could be an onslaught. Vince Morales will probably be on the defense. Now, is his boxing good? Yes, but is it as dangerous as Elijah Smith? I don't know yet, but Elijah Smith is damn dangerous. At this level, anyways, I don't know yet. But Elijah Smith is dangerous, so Vince Morales could go down 2 rounds into the third. I don't think Elijah Smith finishes Vince Morales. But there could be a point in like the second round where Vince Morales, is able to like slow down the pace, clinch with Elijah Smith, maybe even take him to the ground, because Vince Morales actually has sneaky good grappling as well. But as an underdog, I like him. He's well-rounded. He's a submission threat. Boxing is solid, but again, I just went over, like, is it as much of a threat? Well, I guess we shall see. Second run in the UFC. Vince Morales can fight at a high pace. He's got really good cardio, which we've seen Elijah Smith slow down in later rounds. What's up, Kyle? What's up, Josh? Elijah Smith is tough. He's scrappy. Pretty well-rounded as well, but just likes to scrap. And his last fight was awesome. But yeah, going with Vince Morales on this one. Good to see you, Kyle. Good to see you, Josh. Hope you guys are having a good Saturday. All right, Gabriel, Bonfim, the Bonfim brothers, of course, on the same card again, up against Khaos Williams. Now, this is another interesting one. And, Khaos Williams, I'm going to say right now, very good underdog as well. Not super active. Yeah, 8 months ago, I guess a year ago, 2 years ago. He's 15-3 as a pro. Really good record, honestly. 4-1 in his last 5 fights up against Gabriel Bonfim, who's 16-1 as a pro. 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Got knocked out by Dalby. Honestly, despite Dalby being like 40 years of age, he's actually still really damn good. So, not the worst loss there. Came back to beat Andre Lusa. Lusa, I don't know. I'm never really impressed with his performances. Trevin Giles, decent win. Munir Lazez, and beat Trey Waters. Nice, actually, Von Fu choke on Dana White's Contender Series. Khaos Williams is dangerous on the feet, right? We all know this. 30 years of age, 7 knockouts, 2 submissions, 6 decisions. He's never been knocked out, never been submitted. 6-2 in the UFC, and he's 3-0 in King of the Cage. King of the Cage is still going on, by the way, and still putting on good shows. Great win against Charleston Harris, but not the best performance against Rolando Bedoya. Bedoya, good on like the regional scene, but came into the UFC and honestly probably should move down a weight class because his power just did not translate. I wasn't a big fan of his performance in this one. Got the win, good for him. And a close fight, but on the other hand, close fight against Randy Brown. Close fight against Randy Brown as well. So his UFC run's been very, very good. Lost Michel Pereira, no shame in that. Yeah, his UFC run has been really good. I don't hate the odds here. I understand why Gabriel Bonfim is the favorite because he's a little bit younger, and I just think he has more tools. Like, if Khaos Williams can keep this a boxing match and crack you, and find an opportunity to crack you, like, that's where he thrives. I think Gabriel Bonfim, like, I think both the Bonfim brothers, because they, like, are trained in boxing, they do have a little bit of a boxing background, that they just, like to either try to show it off or just compete in the striking against guys who are like, look, this is where I've paved my UFC and or pro MMA path here in this discipline where you're more well-rounded. So I'm a little wary. By the way, I'm picking Bonfim. I'm a little wary about picking him just because, like, I'm scared he's gonna lean on his striking a little bit too much here, where he clearly does have the grappling advantage. This is at welterweight. He is strong. They both the brothers fight at a crazy pace where it's getting like third round, they can slow down as well. 3 KO goes 12 submissions. This is what I'm saying, guys. 1 decision. Despite having a little bit of a boxing background, like the bread and butter, especially for Gabriel here, is his grappling, is his submission threat. 3-1 in the UFC, 2-0 in LFA, 1-0 Contender Series. Was the LFA champ. And overall, his resume is pretty damn good. Like even dating back to when he was in Future, fought a 6-2 guy. And then when he came over to LFA, like, yeah, 8-0, 13-3, fought Trey Waters, who's okay. And then the UFC has done very well. Again, third round, we'll see if this goes the distance, how much gas he has left in the tank, or how much heart he has left. But I am going to just bank on the well-rounded fighter as I usually do. Yeah, nasty grappling, decent boxing, more tools to win. Dangerous everywhere versus just dangerous on the feet, which is where Khaos Williams is insanely dangerous. Powerful and beautiful striker. And if Khaos Williams can get the takedown and get in the top position, he has a grueling top game as well, where he actually like employs a ton of ground and pound and smothers you. But again, only one out of Khaos Williams' last 3 fights really impressed me despite him having 2 wins. But the one that he, you know, was obviously the KO, TKO. I guess the Randy Brown one I was pretty impressed as well, but I don't know. I'm just confident in the well-rounded guy here. So I'm going with Bonfim. Let's move up to the next one. Rafael Estevam against Jesus Aguilar. This one might be a fun one, man. Jesus, being the the little firecracker that he is, just even if he's spamming takedowns, he fights at a high pace. Yo, what's up, Josh? Will John Jones win? What's up, Urban? Good to see you. Good to see you. Saturday, City Life Day, Urban. 12-0 is Estevam. Jesus Aguilar 12-2 as a pro. He is 4-1 in his last 5 fights on a 3-fight win streak. Only 28 years of age. 1 KO TKO, 7 submissions, a 3 decision. 3-1 in the UFC, 1-0 in Contender Series. On a good little run here. Like Tetsuya Rutera, look, submitted him in the first round. Comes back and knocks out Shannon Ross. I mean, who hasn't at this stage? But still, it was beautiful. Split decision against Mendoza. Not the best fight to follow up that Shannon Ross knockout. But then had a really good performance against Stuart Nickel where he got the guillotine choke as well. From Combate Global and UWC, doesn't look like he really tested himself in Luke's, but was the champion in UWC. Beat Edgar Chairez, solid win there, and beat a 5-2 guy when he was only 3-1 to win the belt. Now, Estevam. Sick fighter. He's the heavy favorite here, which, again, given the fact that he hasn't fought in a year, it might be a little bit too heavy. Having said that, I am picking him to win. He's bigger, he's taller, he's lankier, and he's just more dangerous. It's just as simple as that. Now, his striking is if he went up against a striker, I mean, look, he's got jiu-jitsu on his fucking chest, right? If he went up against a better striker, someone whose striking is their bread and butter, yeah, he probably wouldn't be as good. But Aguilar's striking is not his bread and butter. He's got power with that overhand, but he's more of a spamming grappler, like a little Mexican Marab. And he's good at getting top control and landing some decent shots. Whereas Estevam will be the better striker against him, especially because he's bigger, especially because he's a little lankier. He's only 28 years of age, 4 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 5 decisions, 1-0 in the UFC, 1-0 in LFA, and 1-0 off Contender Series. Beat Charles Johnson in his last fight, which is a really good win. I mean, Charles Johnson rising up the rankings and should be facing a ranked opponent soon. But again, in 2023, had fights canceled. Didn't fight in 2024. But yeah, on Contender Series, he had a great win. In LFA, had a great win. And ripped it up in Shuto, man. Absolutely ripped it up in Shuto. 2-time champ there as well. Solito. What's up, Solito? Nasty jiu-jitsu and decent striking at range as well, so I am going with Estevam here. All right, moving up the card, we got Angela Hill against Ketlen Souza. PvP plug, good to see you. Khaos Williams has trouble when people have footwork. Angela Hill, Overkill Hill against Ketlen Souza. Ketlen Souza, 29 years of age, 15-4 as a pro. 4-1 in her last 5 fights, coming off a brutal knockout against Yasmin Uregi at, Noche UFC. Before then beat Marnik Man, which not the most impressive win there, but still. Lost Karine Silva, who Karine Silva is just she's really good. She's going to be champ. Beat a 6-3 gal and 8-6 before that. Angela Hill, 17-14 as a pro. Crazy record, but brings it in every single fight. Usually can drag fights to close decisions where she's been on the losing end of a lot of them. But she is 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Lost in a close fight to Tabitha Ritchie. Before then beat Pinerho and Denise Gomez, which are 2 really good wins. Lost to Mackenzie Dern. Yeah, didn't really look good in that one. Beat Emily Ducati, which, hey, a win's a win. You'll take it. 40 years of age, and she's the slight underdog. This one's this one's a pick'em, ladies and gentlemen. This one's a pick'em. But Angela Hill has fought everybody in her division. 5 KO TKOs, 1 submission, 11 decisions. Never been knocked out. Now, Ketlen Souza has power, but I don't think she knocks out Angela Hill. I really don't. 4-0 in Invicta back in the day. And we mean back in the day. She's fought everyone, man. She's fought everyone. I am going to go with Angela Hill here. I don't think Ketlen Souza cracks her. I think Angela Hill, even at 40 years of age, is still faster. I think volume-wise, she'll land more shots. I'm banking on it anyways. I think if Ketlen Souza is like, fuck this, I can't knock her out, I don't want to strike with her anymore, I'm going to try to clinch up and take her to the ground. Angela Hill has really good clinch work, and she has good takedown defense and scrambling on the ground to get back up to her feet. Yeah, Muay Thai striker who's been in MMA long enough to know, like, I have to keep the fight there if I'm going to win it. And I think she'll just out volume strike Ketlen Souza and probably lose a split decision. But I'm picking her anyways. We're going Angela Hill. Sashwat, I think Hill as a dog can win. I'm not as high on Souza. I just think her striking is just not that quick, you know what I mean? Moving up the cover, we got Josh Delgado against Connor Matthews. Now, I'm really excited to see Josh Delgado fight again. I was very impressed with his last performance. Connor Matthews, not so much. Connor Matthews, 7-2 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He is the underdog at plus 320, 32 years of age. Up against Jose Delgado, who's 5-0 in his last 5 fights. The heavy favorite at minus 420. Smoke him if you got him. 26 years of age. And he's 8-1 as a pro. Out of the MMA lab, which is an awesome gym. 4 KO TKOs, 4 submissions, 0 decision wins. He's only won by finishing his opponent. His only loss has been via decision. 1-0 in LFA, 1-0 in Contender Series. Beat Ernie Juarez in his Contender Series debut, and that was on short notice. And Ernie Juarez is a scrappy wrestler who's been the champion in A1 Combat and defended the belt, I think, like 3 times. Solid guy. His family are big fans of this channel, so shout out to Ernie Juarez. But it was an amazing win, especially on short notice in the second round there, knocking him out. Before then was riding a 3-fight win streak where he finished all of his opponents there. Lost to a 5-1 guy when he was 3-0. But yeah, a good striker whose grappling is coming along. And he's good at keeping the fight on the feet. Yeah, what's up, Baby Sharp? Connor Matthews, 7-2 as a pro. Coming off a loss of the New England Cartel. 1 KO, 2 KO. A New England Cartel guy who doesn't lean on boxing. 5 submissions, 1 decision. 1-1 in Contender Series, 0-1 in the UFC. Lost to Dennis Bazooka in his last fight. Got knocked. Well, I guess he didn't get knocked the fuck out. He got knocked the fuck down, and then got lost to ground and pound. Before then, beat a 10-0 Jair Perez in his second run in Contender Series. Not a bad win. Actually, it was a pretty good win. Before then, got a rear naked choke against a 8-4 guy. Lost to 5-0 guy in Contender Series the first time. Francis Marshall hasn't really gone on to do much. Submitted a 1-0 guy. Like, look at all the guys. Like, okay, yeah, he has 5 submissions, and I think I said this on his Contender Series fight as well in 2023. Yeah, he has a lot of submissions, but bro, I mean, like, they're against fucking like Jay Ellis. Like no joke. I'm not even like being facetious. They are literally against Jay Ellis, a 1-2 Josh Hardy, a 1-8 freaking Rob Fueler. You know what I mean? And one of his few knockouts comes to 0-7 guy. Yeah, padded record in my opinion. Even if he has talent, unproven at this level, and I think Jose Delgado beats him. I really do. Dangerous in all areas, solid striking, pressure, good enough grappling to handle Matthews, who generally just ragdolls and subs meh opponents. Connor Matthews is a face that's just begging to be stars. Delgado's my lock of the card. Delgado KO decision's a nice parlay piece. That's a good question. What do you guys think, chat? That's actually a good poll question for the stream as well. Jay Ellis is the go. Yo, what's up, Idaho Skatesman? Think Walker can get a finish? If he does, it's probably going to be by submission, is my opinion. All right, we have some Spanish MMA to get to in a stream in like 15-20 minutes. I mean, I might even push it a little bit further, but we're halfway through this card, so let's get through the next one here. Keep the comments coming. Appreciate you guys. Smash that like button if you haven't already. UFC stream is ready to go. I just have to make it public, and I will later. I just don't like getting UFC streams up early because UFC's dinged me a couple times for just having a fight companion scheduled. So haven't had issues with any other ones. So once UFC is about to begin, like maybe 15 minutes before it begins, we'll end the WoW stream. Again, WoW 16 out of WoW FC 16 out of Spain. We're just gonna chill and watch those fights until UFC here in about 20 to 30 minutes. Anyways, Rodolfo Vieira against Andre Petroski, 12-3 as a pro for Andre Petroski. Was one of the standout guys on I forget which season of Tough, but it was the Volkanovski and Ortega. I forget what numbered season, 28, 29 or some shit like that. But anyways, Walker's a decisionator. 12-3 for Andre Petroski. He is 3-2 in his last 5 fights, coming off 2 wins, one to Dylan Budka, which I'm not super high on, and one to Josh Frem, who, go back to playing hockey, Josh Frem. You could probably make more money in the ECHL. Lost to Malkoun in that weird knee to the head. It was a knee to the head, right? And brutally lost to Michel Pereira before then. Split decision to Gerald Mershart. It was a sloppy, kind of fun affair, as most GM3 fights are. He is the underdog in this one because the way that Andre Petroski wins fights is not getting in slugfests, all right? The way Andre Petroski wins fights, which again, shout out to the GM3 fight, that was kind of a slugfest. The way he wins fights is controlling his opponents like he did with Josh Frem, wrestling, barely any ground and pound, but mostly control time and trying somewhat active for submissions. Rodolfo Vieira wants this on the ground. Rodolfo Vieira has high-level jiu-jitsu. He has found all his success in pro MMA with his grappling. And overall, despite Petroski being scrappy and throwing hooks and blitzing in the pocket, Rodolfo Vieira can throw a jab and a 1-2. So, like, their striking is not far off, although I do think Petroski would land the bigger shots if this just becomes a brawl, if Petroski can keep this on the feet. Rodolfo Vieira is also 3-2 in his last 5 fights, 10-2 as a pro. Is the favorite in this one, and understand why. He's 35 years of age, Petroski 33. But his last 2 wins were to Armin Petrosian, who is a kickboxer, so not surprised there. And Cody Brundage, who is, well, fucking Cody Brundage. Lost Chris Curtis, decision, which was interesting. I thought Chris Curtis, if he kept on the feet, which he did, would have been able to finish him. Dustin Stoltzfus. I mean, you know what? Not a bad... That's actually a pretty good win. Lost Anthony Hernandez. Anthony Hernandez is awesome. And he got submitted by Anthony Hernandez, which I remember I loved to see. I'm going Vieira on this one. I doubt Petroski will be able to keep this on the feet long. Petroski tends to gas. Vieira might gas, but I do think when Petroski eventually just, like, maybe panic wrestles after getting hit with a straight left or something, or just by nature goes to the double hook takedown, double hooks and then takedown, I think he's going to be like, shit, why did I do that? Because Vieira will be like, thank you for putting me on my back. It's time to play jiu-jitsu. So we're going with Rodolfo Vieira. I don't know if I already locked it in, but I'm doing it now. All right, the second Bonfim brother. We'll get back to the chat after a couple more of these guys. Ismael Bonfim against Nazim Sadykhov. I'm actually excited for this one. Sadykhov, despite having an Ov in his name, is very much more of a striker, I guess. I wouldn't, like, look, he's got decent grappling, and maybe that was his base growing up, but, like, he's found success knocking motherfuckers out and brawling and landing short shots in the clinch. 9-1-1 as a pro. Went to a draw against Borshev, which, like, again, Borshev, he's good, not great. So, like, I don't even really know what to think about this. It's not good, it's not bad, right? He beat Terrence McKinney, choked him out, actually, after knocking him down. Beat Evan Elder, you know, who the fuck's Evan Elder? I guess he was 7-1 at that time. Cut him up pretty bad. Hassanzada, I don't know how he even, like, he got the win in his last fight on Dana White Contender Series because he was invited back and somehow got a contract. He's not that good. So, like, sure, knocked him out, great knockout. Hassanzada's not that good. Now, he's fun to watch, and he's out of Longo's MMA. 6 KO, TKOs, 2 submissions, 1 decision, 2-0-1 in the UFC, and like I said, 1-0 in Contender Series. He's beaten the guys he's needed to beat in the UFC, and he's finished his fight, so like I don't want to be super critical. And Borshev's tough as nails, as we just saw, right? In the Tom Nolan fight. He just sometimes gets knocked down by the likes of Chase Hooper. But anyways, on the regional scene, did pretty good. Developed in Fury and Cage Fury FC, which is what I like to see, even as an amateur here in North America. Ismael Bonfim, the smaller of the two Bonfims. Again, a guy who likes to strike more than he should, given how good his grappling game is, like his brother, and you don't really want to test your striking in the pocket against a Sadykhov. You don't want to make this a brawl, because I do think Sadykhov has the straight up knockout power advantage. However, just like in the breakdown with his brother, in his brother's fight, I do think Ismael Bonfim is more well-rounded. I think he's more dangerous in more areas. Now, on the feet, maybe he can hold his own for a little bit. Shoot, maybe even to sneak out around. But you don't want to play that game with Sadykhov. You want to control him, and you want to go for the submission. So, again, I'm not even that... Like, these odds are fine, but Sadykhov, a very good underdog. A very good underdog. Hell, probably an even better live underdog, I'd imagine. Again, you guys are the betting experts, not me. 20-4 for Ismael Bonfim. 9 KO TKOs, 4 submissions, 7 decisions. So again, he likes to strike more. And I think he, like, they both, like, trained boxing growing up, but I think he actually, like, won some, like, regional boxing titles. Is it going to show it here? No. Anyways, they weren't, like, anything crazy, because it was, like, Brazilian regional boxing titles. But still, like, his hands are decent, all right? Got a little too overzealous, though, eh, bud? In his Benoit Saint Denis fight. Beat Vince Pichel, but didn't finish him. Now, shout out to fucking Vince Pichel, man. Right? What is he, 42? Still tough as nails. Yeah, 42. Tough as nails, and actually, like, looked good in moments in that fight as well. But he got the win. He got his confidence back. This is more of his bounce back fight, though. He starts McKinney as well in more beautiful fashion. Beat Abasov, who's, you know, actually quite similar to Sadykhov in the way he fights, not just because he has an Ov in his name. And yeah, on the regional scene and in his LFA fights, he absolutely dominated as well. I'm banking on Bonfim not getting too cute with the striking and recognizing, like, if he gets hit with the big shot by Sadykhov, like, oh fuck, okay, let me employ my other tools. Because my jiu-jitsu may not be as crazy as my brother's, but it's definitely more well-rounded than Sadykhov's, and I do think he's just as strong on the ground as well. So I do think the Bonfim brothers go 2-0 on this card, but Sadykhov, a fun fighter as well. All right, Edmen, we'll get back to the chat after this one, guys. Edmen Shahbazyan against Dylan Budka. Dylan Budka, how is he still in the UFC? 7-4 as a pro, 2-3 in his last 5 fights, losing to Andre Petroski. Got dominated by Andre Petroski in that one. And lost to Cesar Almeida, got knocked the fuck out. Now, I banked on Dylan Budka taking Cesar Almeida down, since he was like a pretty high level, I think, high school wrestler. No, he was a high level high school wrestler. I'm not sure if he wrestled in college, or if he did, it was like JUCO or something. Regardless, Cesar Almeida was able to defend all the takedowns, man. So it's like, and again, shout out to Cesar Almeida, is getting better and better at MMA in every step and proving me wrong in every fight. But still. Beat Chad Hanekom, unanimous decision on Contender Series. In hindsight, not really good win. Hanekom actually pissed hot, not for steroids, but for cocaine in that one, and then I'm pretty sure got starched on the regional scene in his next fight after that. He's got wrestling. His boxing's pretty elementary. Not the best wins on the regional scene. Now, Edmen Shahbazyan is far from the golden boy. Very, very inconsistent. 13-5 as a pro. And look, even in his last 5 fights, 2-3, lose 1, win 1, lose 1, win 1. Was beating GM3 until he wasn't. Nice win over AJ Dobson. Just doesn't have the best takedown defense. Doesn't have the best ground game. But if he can keep this fight on the feet, he will win. He will win. And it's not like if Dylan Budka gets him to the ground that he's going to find submissions on Shahbazyan. I do think, like, he ain't no GM3. I do think he'll be scrambly enough to at least get out of a dangerous position. So I'm going with Shahbazyan on this one. I can't believe I'm picking Shahbazyan to win a fight. All right, back to the chat quickly here. Then we'll get to the final 2. We're actually making good time, and then we'll jump over to WoW. Actually, let me just adjust the start time for that one too here on the fly. All right, where are we up here? Walker's the decisionator. I think he wins, though. Ismael Bonfim, I feel like, is more likely to lose. He headbutted Malkoon's hip and KO'd himself. Oh, that was... I'm like 99% sure we were live covering that one. I'll just set it for 12:30. Fuck it. Okay. There's a chance this ends up like Maya versus Askren, a bucket. Sadykhov is a live dog. There you go. He can pull off the upset. I don't really sleep, no. How's it going, Sean? Thank you, by the way, long-time member of the channel, Sean. The first Bonfim is going to get KO'd. Which Bonfim brother is the tougher matchup in your opinion? Ooh. That's a fucking good question. They're both against like a similar type of guy. I would probably say Khaos Williams is the tougher opponent. Edmen should retire on the spot if he loses to Budka. Yes, agreed. Ease Churi. The Thorn Shabaza Bone, good pick. All dogs are live. Hi, I've been listening while I clean. Just saying hello. Hope you had a fun night there, Amberly. Hope you're feeling okay today. Hope you're excited for some UFC in just a few hours. All right, co-main event, Cavalcanti against Youssef Zalal. Youssef Zalal, what a run, man. What a run. Training out of Denver, Colorado. The Moroccan native is 16-5-1 as a pro. 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Out of Factory X, got cut from the UFC at like in his mid-20s or early 20s. Went on a run. One-night tournaments included in that run. Right back into the UFC where he has been dominating. 4 KO TKOs, never been knocked out. 9 submissions, never been submitted. 3 decisions, 5 decision losses. 6-3-1 in the UFC, 4-2 in LFA. Beat Jack Shore in his last fight. Beat Yarno Aarons the fight before. Billy Quarantillo in his return to the UFC. And the thing is, like, yeah, he hasn't beaten like the best opponents in his return to the UFC, but he's soundly kicked their ass and finished them, right? On the amateur scene, look, like you beat a 0-0 guy. Imagine this guy was taking the fight on short notice. Again, yeah, fought MMA, boxing and kickboxing all in the same night. Okay, so yeah, that was the one night. Okay, so it wasn't short notice. It was just a guy taking the fight on one night. But still, like, that's fucking crazy, bro. That's fucking crazy. While he was fighting MMA, where he beat a 6-2 guy, 9-3. And even look at his UFC run. Sean Woodson split decision, tough fucking fight. Sungwoo Choi, tough fucking fight. Although, you know, maybe this is the worst out of the few. A draw against Damon Blackshear and decision against Ilya Tapuria. Before them was on a run as well, only losing to a 7-3 guy split decision in LFA. He's very well-rounded, very good grappler. Cavalcanti, honestly, some bad luck as of late. Some bad luck as of late. He's basically like the better Rob Font. Rob Font, who has takedown defense and like some grappling, right? And they're both from New England Cartel. 23-8 as a pro, but only 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Again, lost Aljamain Sterling, who out-grappled him, which honestly I think Zalal's probably going to end up doing. Surprise, surprise, picking Zalal to win this one. Had that knee injury to Arnold Allen. Now, I think he lost the first round, but that was a 5-round main event, and yeah. Threw that weird flying side kick and landed weird on the knee. But again, kind of took himself out in that one. Josh Emmett, I truly think he won that fight. Close fight. Competitive. Absolutely dominated Giga, who was like a rising contender, right? And then, you know, 4 years ago, had that insane fight where he got beat. But had that insane fight against Max Holloway. So, I do think Zalal's pressure, I do think Zalal's grappling will be too much for Cavalcanti. I think Zalal's pace is really good, and Cavalcanti, I think we'll have issues getting the fight into his rhythm on the feet, and we'll have to play more defense than offense, even if he's not taking a lot of damage. If Zalal just straight boxes with him, Cater is the better boxer and will likely outstrike him. But yeah, I am going with Zalal in this one. I think the odds are a little disrespectful to Cavalcanti. 10 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 10 decisions. 7-6 in the UFC. He's got some good fucking wins, man. Jeremy Stevens, Dan Ige. Went to a decision against Zabit. I mean, who the fuck is Chris Fishgold now? But you know what I mean. 17-1 coming in. Beat Shane Burgos when Shane Burgos was good. Andre Philly's a good win. Like, yeah, he's fought everybody, man. He's fought everybody. But yeah, going with Zalal in this one. I really like Zalal. Only 28 years of age. All right, main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Jared Cannonier back in a 5-round main event. That is all the Killer Gorilla does. Those are the only type of fights that he fights, ladies and gentlemen. But he's far from a killer, right? On his rise to the title shot, he was knocking out guys left, right, and center, walking forward, stalking you down. And I will say, his last fight against Kyle Bahayo, it was a fun fight. And there were like 2 rounds where he like won, and we saw that old Jared Cannonier. But it was only glimpses, man. Since his fight leading up to Israel Adesanya, I don't want to call it gun shy. It's just not. It's not a complete game plan, and maybe it is a little bit gun shy now that I think about it as well. 40 years of age is Jared Cannonier. This is kind of his last shot here to kind of stay relevant at the top of the division. Up against the rising Gregory or Robocop Rodrigues. 16-5 for Gregory Rodrigues. I didn't mean like just straight up on paper, but you think Budka will win? Okay. Like I didn't mean just like what the odds give, because I have those up as well. 16-5 as a pro, on a run right now, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, but on a 3-fight win streak. Really good win against Christian Leroy Duncan. That went 3 rounds, and it didn't look like Rodrigues was too tired at the end of that one. And honestly, he dominated CLD, who's a very, very good fighter. He finished Brad Tavares, which is hard to do, even older Brad Tavares. Dennis Tululin is not great, far from the M1 Global days where he was the GOAT. Absolutely got knocked out by Bruno Ferreira, which again, going back to the Killer Gorilla, if Jared Cannonier fights like the old Jared Cannonier, or I guess the younger Jared Cannonier, he was kind of still old when he went on that run, he could crack Gregory Rodrigues, because Gregory Rodrigues doesn't have an iron chin. Like, if you go back and watch a Jared Cannonier Vettori fight, like, if Vettori didn't have an iron chin, he would have been out early in that fight, right? Early-ish in that fight. Gregory Rodrigues doesn't have a glass chin, but doesn't have an iron chin by any means. So if he can get cracked. He can get cracked, but his wrestling is very, very good. He's been training in the United States. His grappling, like his jiu-jitsu is very, very good. I believe he's a world champion in jiu-jitsu. And now he's kind of rounding out that offensive jiu-jitsu game with wrestling that he's kind of just adding to his MMA grappling game. 9 KO TKOs, 4 submissions, 3 decisions, 7-2 in the UFC, 3-0 in LFA, 0-1 in Contender Series. Even fought in ACB back in the day as well. Lost a close decision to Armin Petrosian and lost to Bruno Ferreira. Oh, yeah, he beat Josh Friend for the LFA title. That's hilarious. No, solid, man. Solid career. And he's been around for a while, and he's been in a lot of fights. But, like, he's kind of just... This is his steam. He just gained some steam in the UFC right now. And, honestly, this might be his biggest test yet. Because this ain't no old Brad Tavares, right? Yo, what's up, Karl Max? Whereas Cannonier, on a 2-fight losing streak, lost to Kyle Bahio in that... I want to say war, but it leaned more Kyle Bahio's favor. It was more one side, and honestly, the ref probably should have stopped that Herb Dean's minute of pain. Lost to Imavov. That one was brutal. That one sucked. And that one sucked for me to watch just because, like, I picked against Imavov in that one. But Imavov proving me wrong at every fucking fight as well. I'm going to have to pick him to win his next one. But proved to me in that one that he has power. And then obviously just showed it against Israel Adesanya as well. Good win against Marvin Vettori. Good win. Close win against Sean Strickland, but it was a good win nonetheless, as that one was a good competitive back and forth fight. And then, like, just was gun shy in the Israel Adesanya fight. But leading up to Izzy, every time I see Robocop's age, it blows my mind. Yeah, he's like a year older than me. 9 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 5 decisions, 10-8 in the UFC. Yeah, leading up to Adesanya, man. Leading up to Adesanya. Beats Jack Hermanson, beats Anderson Silva, but finishes them. Finishes David Branch. Kelvin Gastelum's hard to finish, so couldn't finish him, but, you know, dominated him. Finished Derek Brunson brutally with those elbows, right? So, like, yeah, just that killer instinct is not there anymore consistently, only in spurts, and I'm going to bank on Gregory. Basically the storyline for me and my picks here today is I'm going with the more well-rounded fighters, and though Jared Cannonier, solid takedown defense, solid wrestling, Gregory Rodrigues beats him everywhere on the ground, and maybe even on the feet. We shall see. But no, after this, like Kai Bahio, Gregory Rodrigues for a title eliminator. Whoo-wee. Anyways, I'm going RoboCop on this one. I understand why he's the favorite. Jared Cannonier is an underdog, though. It's Jared fucking Cannonier. That's not an underdog pick. That's not a bad underdog pick as well. Lock of the card. Originally, it was... you know what? Fuck it. I'll stick with it. Lock of the card, Cavalcanti. I know it's women's MMA. You can make fun of me after the stream if she loses. Degenerate parlay is honestly better. Yeah. The degenerate and safe parlay is brought to you by our friend Volcan. This is not betting advice. I don't care if you guys take this or not. These are just fun. And honestly, this one was a hard card to put a safe parlay together. So the degenerate parlay, I actually might drop like a couple bucks on because it's fun. Cavalcanti, Jared Cannonier, and Morales. And then going with the safe parlay, which isn't safe because there's not a lot of safe picks on this one. We're going with Estevam, Delgado, and Shahbazyan. There you go. There you go. All right, let's take these comments quick. And then, guys, we're going to jump over to the stream as we're going to be covering WoW 16. Wowza. WoW FC 16. It's Spanish MMA until UFC starts. So it already started, by the way. They're 20 minutes in to their show right now, which is on UFC Fight Pass, one of UFC Fight Pass's newly acquired ones. I'll show you the link in the chat here. So you can go over to there. We'll start in about 10 minutes. All right, let's quickly see what you guys got here. I think Zalal wins close decision fight, closer than the odds reflect. Oh, by the way, your hat is awesome. I'd wear that. Also matches you perfectly. Yeah, I actually like... I'm actually matching here today. You have to pot money on Kattar here. It's the end of his career if he loses. Yo, what's up, Andrew? Good to see you. Good to see you. Cannonier has been getting fed to the wolves back to back. I mean, he's continuing fighting top young contenders, so shout out to him. Rodrigues can't go 5. This fight ends before the end of the third with a sub. Brazilian. I think Robo has a solid chin. Just shit defense. Winning method, double chance for Robocop. Probably submission or ground and pound. Cannonier has half the power of G-Rod. Gives me Yuri vibes. Believes in their ability even or enough to take... I mean, that is true. That is true. But gives me Yuri vibes. Believes in their ability enough to take shots and not pay much mind to it. Good to see you, Karl Max. Never bet 40-year-olds unless they take Viagra. I am thinking KO decision for Robocop. Every time I see Robocop's age, it blows my mind. Robocop about to unleash some... Dude looks 50. Half the power of D-Rod, bro. You're crazy. D-Rod is 170, and he has a big frame, but he definitely doesn't punch harder than Jared. Right man looks old. Cannonier sleeping. Someone said that before. Waconia Brewing. But I mean, you know, some craft breweries are kind of a cult. We can't be having minus 700 as locks as women's as that. I know, but I'm doing it anyways, okay? If she loses, you guys can make fun of me in the chat. What's up, James C? Safe parlay, bold chick fights, go the distance. All right, guys. That is it for this preview, breakdown, predictions video here and stream. Link is in the chat again in about 5 to 10 minutes. We will be live covering WoW 16. I mean, I'll be doing play-by-play and commentary for it as I do, but it'll be a lot more casual as we've started late and we're gonna end it early as we will start UFC on time, and I'll get that stream up in a little bit too. Smash that like button and subscribe, and we will see you for this WoW 16 stream in just a few minutes. Cheers! We will see you on the next one. Yeah.